Hey everyone, I am Jeremy and this is Disciple Makers. This is a place where we are courageously striving to multiply followers of Jesus Christ. In life, do you ever notice that all of life seems to be boiled down by two sides? You have on one end of the spectrum, you have the left, and then on the other side you have the right. And then it's like this side get called names like conservative, and this side gets called names like liberal. And throughout your life, you then decide, are you Republican? Are you Democrat? Are you red? Are you blue? Are you in? Are you out? Are you in? Are you out? And you have to decide which side you land on. And we spend so much time doing one of two things: digging down deeper into the thinking, beliefs, and actions of our side, of our people, or we spend so much time pointing fingers of people who are on the other side. We do this. We do this all the time. Are you this side? Are you that side? Can you believe those people? Can you believe they think that way? Can you believe they believe those things? Can you believe they do those things? But here's the reality of the way we ought to follow Jesus. In fact, you could argue as you read through the Bible that the people, the only people that Jesus seemed to get upset with, were the people that were dug deep down on their side and were pointing fingers at the other side. Jesus got so upset when people were on one side saying, those people over there cannot be included. Jesus right away went to the little children and included them. He went to his disciples who weren't kind of included by other rabbis and were a part of things. He accepted them and chose them to follow him. He went to the outcasts and the downcast. He went to the tax collectors and the downtrodden, the sinful people he had so much time and compassion for. But the people pointing fingers at the sinful people were the people that he had almost no time of day for. There's this passage in Matthew 6, and it says this: Jesus is teaching his disciples and people that he's giving the Sermon on the Mount to how to pray. And Jesus says, but when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen, that your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. So Jesus is saying, focus on praying for your own heart, for your life. Pray that God does a work in you. That prayer and these actions of discipleship are not about being perceived well by other people. They're not about following a plan that's somewhere on this human dualistic structure. It's like, go into your room and pray for your heart. Pray for your soul. Pray for your relationship with Jesus. There's a great revivalist, Rodney Smith, was asked, how do we start a revival in this day, in this age, with what is going on around us? And Rodney Smith replied, go home, lock yourself in your room, kneel down in the middle of the floor, and with a piece of chalk, draw a circle around yourself. There on your knees, pray fervently and brokenly that God would start a revival within that chalk circle. Pray that God would start a revival in me. So often, I'm on one side of this spectrum pointing out what other people ought to do, or what we as Christians, as followers of Jesus, ought to do. But how many times in my life am I making a circle instead of having the two ends of the spectrum? Am I making a circle? And I'm standing in the middle of this, praying that God does a revival in me. How many times am I seeking God's face to say, God, I don't have this right. I don't understand how this all works, but I know you are the one holding it all together. Do a work in me. Change me. Transform me. Help me to stop pointing out what is happening out there and start a revival in here. And so, disciple makers, what if we, in relationship with others, start praying for revival within us, within my heart, within my mind, within my soul? What would it look like for you and your friends who you are following Jesus together with? What if we pray for us first? What if we pray in a room for our hearts? What if we stop pointing fingers outward and start pointing a finger inward, saying, God, what do you want to do in me? What do you want to teach me? How do you want me to apply your grace, your truth, your forgiveness, your mercy, your compassion? I think it's going to really start to change us and change all of us if we as individuals start doing that. So, disciple makers, let's go. Let's be changed. Let's be transformed. Let's do it in community. Let's do it together. And let's let God work and do some amazing things. Let's go.